Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Spec Ops The Line on the PC on FUBAR difficulty, and this is my guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Chapter 12 of 15, and it is entitled The Rooftops. So, I cannot convey to you guys how much this game kicks ass. It is such a fantastic game. First enemy over here, you can actually do a melee attack on him if you want to, but I found that if I did that, sometimes his gun would fall off, and we are going to be doing some very long-range combat on this chapter. Over here, just equip your silencer on the M4A1, take out the first guy, and then assign your teammates to target the last two enemies over here, and you can stealth this section. Now, I do have to give you a word of warning, because although this chapter is quite easy, it doesn't matter what you take from this chapter and enter into the next chapter with as far as your ammunition. In fact, it absolutely has no bearing, because you start out on the next chapter with nothing. So the transition from this chapter 12 to 13, there's nothing that you need to concern yourself with. But going from chapter 13 to 14, you're gonna really need to consider what you do on that chapter. That is chapter 13. I hope you mind if I don't talk over this fight. I hope you don't mind it. I don't like the music over here. I'm not sure what it is. It's that Nowhere to Run To song. I really find it annoying. But this fight is quite easy. But I need to remind you guys that going from chapter 13 to 14, you want to take real good consideration about what you take, what guns you take, and try to preserve your grenades as much as you possibly can. And it's going to be a little difficult, because chapter 13 is very difficult. It's probably up there on the hardest chapter, because the thing about it, guys, is that going from chapter 13 to 14, why? Because chapter 14 has a really difficult gunfight at the beginning, so I don't want you guys to start off with the default weapons first of all, I don't want you to have to bring shit from chapter 13 to 14. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prepare you as we get into these chapters. You really don't want to start chapter 14 fresh. Believe me, I've had to put myself into a situation where I try to do that, and while I probably could do it, it's just very frustrating, because you don't start off with a good, you just want what you want, and why not start off with ideal weapons is the thing. So as far as this chapter is concerned, though, it's quite manageable, very, very fun, and I don't mean to be some sort of a nagging person when I say you need to closely heed what I'm telling you, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do in any way. I don't want to be that type of person. I just want to recommend things to you and try to caution you, and just be there for you because FUBAR is difficult. I've gone through it before, and I had a really tough time beating it. So I just want to be there for you guys as you go through your campaign, so that you can have the help that you choose to have, and take any advice that I give, and just if you're one of those people that clings very closely to advice that I give, that's cool. If you take my advice kind of loosely and kind of do your own thing, that's also how you want to do things. I'm just trying to prepare you, because we've got difficult chapters coming. Not only is chapter 13 hard, but chapter 14, the first fight, is difficult. I mean, it's quite hard, And then there's also another hard fight on chapter 14, and chapter 13 is no picnic either. We are finally going to catch up with the Radio Man, and earlier in the guide I said that it was Adams that kills the Radio Man. That was wrong. It is Lugo, and I knew it at the time. I just messed up on the names. But anyway, like I said, we're going to be doing some very long range combat, but you aren't going to have any issues because the game is always going to provide you with exactly what you need to do the job with, namely these weapons over here. So okay, so now when we get over here, there's going to be some enemies over here right in front of a barbecue. So it's basically it's going to be us, this character here, Walker, and Lugo doing the bulk of the work, because I don't believe that Adams can do anything with his weaponry. I don't think he's got a sniper rifle for his stealthing. But when you shoot out the glass, you want to make sure that there's an enemy in front of it. You don't want to just shoot out the glass and not have an enemy to kill. Now, there are going to be some guys with RPGs over here. If they shoot your cover, it kind of knocks you around a little bit and shakes the screen. It doesn't kill you, though, which is really good. And there's there's one kind of a longish checkpoint, but I've got some really good strategies for you guys. But I would say that we are going to need to ditch the sniper rifle after this, because after this we aren't going to have any more use for it. Okay, we should almost be clearing these enemies up. We probably have about 2 guys left over here to shoot. Just keep assigning targets for Lugo to kill. He's very handy. Okay, this guy actually should be the final guy over here. Okay, now that guy's cleared. Now we're going to use the zip line to cross. If we can get the prompt, there we go. You might wonder to yourself, why keep replaying the same games all over? Why not try something new? Well, I do occasionally try new things, but this actually is a new experience for me, because when you play a game in 60, it's a completely different experience, and it's so much more enjoyable. I can't describe it. Being confined to 30 frames and having the ability to play these games is just it's a blessing. It's just an absolute blessing. Okay, so up here is where the Radio Man is. I'm editing out the cutscenes per usual, and then what's going to happen now is that it's going to be Walker, that is us, and Adams. So Adams and us are going to come down here. There's going to be 2 enemies at the beginning, and then these guys are carrying the Resident Evil sort of laser sight weapon. Look how this game gives you a lot of freedom. Oh, it's called the P90 or something like that. I'm gonna pick that up in a moment. Just make sure you refill your ammo before you leave this room. You cannot come back up here, because the game will seal itself off once you get down here. Now the door's gonna get opened up by the enemies over here, and Adams is going to stay in here until most of the enemies are killed, so that's a good thing. He's not just gonna go out there. This guy generally will rush you, so you can melee him and finish him off. Sometimes he's close enough and he's in a good position that you can execute him, that guy that I just meleeed, but regardless, you can usually pick up his weapon. This is the first time I'm using this weapon. It has a laser sight for its alternate fire, and it's got a circular reticle for its long-range combat. So You want to use the circle for the long range combat, which does admittedly decreased damage because you see that it's that pinkish sort of color, which means we're dealing decreased damage. But at least it's damage, and it's just a throwaway weapon in my opinion, because I don't care for it too much. And oh, I've also picked up the AK. I really like the AK-47. So, and this is the long checkpoint. The AK-47, the burst mode. Okay, so when Adams leaves the room, guys, you need to follow him because he almost always falls in combat. So when you get up here, you want to frag to the left because there's going to be 2 to 3 enemies coming down the stairs. Adams pretty much will always, like I said, I don't think I've ever done this, and he hasn't got into some kind of a jam. This might be the time when he didn't have any problem. But the thing you want to note about this is that Lugo is on the rooftop where we killed the radio man. So Lugo is going to be providing sniping assistance for you. So I realized the mistake that I made last time of rushing up the stairs. You don't want to do that. You also want to save any stun grenades that you have for using those if Adams has a problem. Now, it just so happened that on this take, Adams didn't have any problem because I quickly cleared out all of the enemies. But Lugo is indispensable here for taking out a lot of these guys. So basically, you want to anytime Adams moves forward, you want to follow him so that if he winds up in a jam, you need to be close to him and preparing to throw a stun grenade. Because what you can get into is you can get into the problem of rushing up. See that enemy? You can rush. You could start going up the stairs. Oh, that is Adams. That's Adams. You can be running up the stairs vulnerable, and you don't want that to happen. So, okay, so when you get up here, just continue to have Lugo fire at targets over here. There is going to be a bayonet charger coming up when you get up a little bit further. The enemy grenade tossing is pretty minimal over here. Lugo usually takes care of that target that I just killed right there, but we actually interfered with him. Okay, there's the fucker right there. There you go, you headless horseman motherfucker. You know what that guy reminds me of? He reminds me of the Nick from Falling Down. If you've ever seen that movie, the guy who runs the army surplus store, that Nazi guy. He's just got that kind of face. Okay, anyway, throw a stun grenade so that you can safely heal Adams. That's one of the great things about the stun grenades, actually, is that you're able to blind enemies. I actually could have killed Adams right there. Good boy, Adams. Just take care of everybody over here. You'll have a much easier time, I guarantee it, if you take advantage of Lugo, because he's really handy. He's basically just covering you as you get into the helo over here. And now you're gonna have to return the favor and cover him as he tries to get his self in over here to the helicopter. And I can't tell you how great this music is, guy. You get like a god complex playing this part over here, and it can be difficult, but they give you a pretty good checkpoint right over here in a moment. And like I said, I did leave the prologue out of this walkthrough. What essentially the prologue is the third part of this sequence over here, with the exception that on the prologue you're in the chopper, there's credits rolling, and the other helos that you deal with fire rockets, whereas in the prologue they don't. So it's a little bit different in that regard. All right, now that we've got our checkpoint over here, we're going to be circling around this area, and I tell you, to hear the primal bestial screams of Walker over here as he's firing this chopper, going completely insane, wanting only just to bury the 33rd, since they seem content to just stay there. So he was trying to help them out, but now he doesn't even give a shit. And I wouldn't either in his position. So the only real threat on these parts, well, I couldn't say real, but the rocket launcher guys are going to give you a hard time if you don't get on them quickly. But this is extremely fair and fun. It's that's all you can ask for. But as long as you're on your mark and you're quick about what you have to do, this should be more of a pleasure than it is a chore. And if you do find yourself dying, you probably are not focusing enough on see the red targets. Those are the ones that are the deadliest. So just keep a note of that. God, the music is just so wonderful over here. And I do like how things circle around over here, because if you do play this game, you'll notice that the game begins in media res, and then things begin to circle around starting at about this point over here. And just focus on the targets here, guys. There's the satellite dishes. That's not what we're doing. We're just circling around and doing that. But I do like how. I do like that, but it's kind of strange because Walker says that we've done this before, and that's impossible in respect to how he was. The only thing I could think of is that it's deja vu or something. That sort of a feeling. That feeling that you can only describe as deja vu, but it's very strange narrative, and I'm curious too, because as you delve deeper into the game and you get deeper into these chapters, the game does this weird thing of it starts to address you in the second person, starts calling you, and I find that strange, that kind of invasiveness as you get into the it's like you're kind of delving into the psychology of this character and getting into his head. Not a lot of people tend to support these kind of games. They play them and they take them for granted, and I can't say that I've not done that in the past with certain things, but with the dearth of third person games, and just the decline and the disinterest of these types of games, it's kind of saddening to think that they are falling out of fashion, that they're going into this extreme decline, and almost it's getting into like a drought for this type of genre. And I just want to be the voice that says, where the hell are these games? I mean, where are they? Let's keep having these, because they're great, and I just think that they're not represented enough in gaming. It's just, there's a preponderance of first-person games for some reason, and I don't like those, and I just want the others. It's as simple as that. I just want a certain type of game, and I know I'm extremely picky, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna let the video speak for itself, and I'm gonna take my leave, if you'll permit me to. And I do hope that this video helped you out. If you do need help, I hope that you continue to take care as we finish up our guide, and I will see you in the 13th video. Please do take care of yourselves. For Bic Benedict Productions, my name is Bic, and continue to take care.